Welcome, Griffin Spalding families and community members. I am Shervette Miller-Payton, one of the English Language Arts curriculum coordinators, and I'm here to talk with you today about literacy and how you can support it with your children. Our presentation today is called Captain Can, because I believe you can be the supporter of literacy in your household. We hear can't a lot from our children, right? They say they can't read, they can't write, they don't like literacy. But I'm here to tell you that there are 9 things that you can do today to support them in being successful with literacy. So let's put on our captain superhero hats and let's see if we can do these 9 simple things for our children. First one, compare movies to books. Now this might sound very simple, but movie night, I'm sure, especially during this period in our life, is very popular with our children. We watch films, but something you can do to add to that is have them compare it to a book that was made into a movie. And this is not just a frivolous thing. This is actually an English standard. RL7 in middle school and high school encourages students to analyze films and compare them to literature that's related. And so when you think about movies such as Just Mercy, that there's a book that goes with that. So you can have students, your children, look at that film and then break out the book and say, okay, wait, why did they change this character? Why did they cut this? What's happening here? Fantastic Beasts, another film series actually that has a book related to it. And so again, engage in those conversations with your children. Start with something that they love, film, and then have them relate it, and it motivates them a little bit more to pick up a book that they like. Encourage competitions. Here in Griffin Spalding, we have several opportunities for students to turn literacy into a competition or sport of sorts. And so literacy days, which this year will be held virtually in January, and by December, your child can talk to their English teacher and ask how they can get involved. It's only available to elementary and middle school students, but they get a chance to write, do a writing competition, a recital, poetry recital competition. And so there are so many opportunities for them to explore their interest in literacy. Spelling bee, this year we're having spelling and vocabulary competition. And so if they're in elementary or middle school, they can engage in the classic spelling bee. And we've added that vocabulary element to really encourage meaning of words and not just memorization of sounds. The Young Georgia Authors Competition, every year we ask students K through 12, so middle schoolers and high schoolers, this is an opportunity for them to write and submit it to their English teacher and see if they can win an award regionally or national or statewide for their writing. And then publications. A lot of our RCD, rigorous curriculum design, our units encourage students to publish and to publicly show the things that they've created. So again, talk to your child's English teacher and ask how can they share with the world things that they have written in class. Recommendations from influential people. And so I know in middle school and high school, we're at that point where students don't like to talk to their parents sometimes. You know, when you ask them how was school, it's always nothing or it's all right. And they sometimes don't want to open up. And so you may feel a bit of a struggle with asking them about books or asking them about reading. But there may be somebody in their life that they will talk to and listen to, a coach, a favorite teacher, a pastor, and ask that person perhaps to start to talk to your child about books that they've read. Because if that child already has an emotional connection, and of course they have an emotional connection to you, but it's a little bit different, right? So if that child has an emotional connection to that coach or favorite teacher or pastor, they may be more likely to listen to, hey, here's a favorite book that my idol likes. Maybe I might like it as well. So maybe, talk to that person and see if they can encourage your child to read. And find the right book. We often hear students say, I don't like reading, I hate reading. And I am just of the opinion that everyone will like reading if they find the right book. And oftentimes, books that are nonfiction, books that are true and based on science or history, oftentimes those types of books are more interesting to reluctant readers. And there are tons of places here in this district that you can help your child find the right book. Your child's teacher has a collection of books in the class library. The school library, yes, even in the pandemic, the school library is able to check out books to your child and help them find something that really relates to them. And the public library. This year, we're so excited that the public library is now offering free electronic cards. So you don't have to go up to the library to get a library card. You can just open up frrls.net/library card, and you can get an e-card, an electronic card, and immediately have access to all of the online books that they offer. And then we also have the FRESH library, the Fresh Library, and that's new this year, sponsored by a donation, a generous donation, where we were able to buy very high interest books for middle schoolers and high schoolers, and students can have them. They can keep them forever. And all they need to do is go to tinyurl.com/GSCS books. They can request a book, and the book will be delivered to their school for them to pick up. So these are all opportunities and avenues for them to find the book that really speaks to their interests. Phonics and vocabulary. This one is huge. A lot of times when our students say they can't read, they're right. It's hard for them. When words are difficult, they're not able to decode or sound out words, or they see a large vocabulary word and they just don't know what it means. They're not tricking you when they say they really can't. And so that is the time for you, instead of getting angry and saying, oh my gosh, you're just too lazy to read or something. Sometimes they really find it difficult. So that's when you have to go into your teacher and the support personnel at your child's school and say, hey, I think we really need to work on sounding out words. What can we do? And your teachers will be able to guide you to resources and additional tutoring for your students to really get a grasp on words. Dictation and voice typing. So if you have a child who's struggling to write, they know what they want to say, but they just can't put it on paper, dictation. And when I say dictation, that means that they're speaking their thoughts and then it shows up on the paper. And we can do this now through electronics. So on Google Docs, there's a way for your child to open up Google Docs and press the speaker for them to speak their thoughts, and it automatically types what they're saying. And so if staring at a blank page is stressful for them, just have them start talking. Have them start talking and figuring out what they want to say, have it, and it'll automatically put it on their paper. And then they can go back and say, okay, here's what I want to cut. Here's what I want to rearrange. But have them just do a sort of stream of consciousness first to get something on paper, and then they can rearrange and edit. Practice elaboration in writing. So having students write can be difficult, especially if they don't know what else to say. They may look at a writing assignment and write a couple of sentences and say, hey, I answered the question, but their teacher is looking for an essay right? And so here is an acronym that many of our teachers use and that you can use at home to get them to write more. Instead of just saying write more, here are things that they can do. It's called the SECRETS acronym, and it stands for stories, experts, comparisons, rebuttals, explanations, and senses. So when they're looking at something that they're writing, ask them, what can you add to this that will tell a story? That will, and when I mean story, I don't mean a book, but in a paragraph or so, how can you explain yourself further by telling a short little scene or story that's related? Experts, what research can you bring into your writing that you've read, that you researched, and you can cite in your writing? What expert can you bring that would help elaborate what you're trying to say? Comparisons. This is where they can take what they're thinking about, the thoughts that they've already put on the page, and think of analogies and metaphors, or just things that they can compare their ideas to. And that can also elongate and elaborate their writing. Rebuttals, especially if they're being asked to write an argument or an opinion about something, have them think about, okay, what would the other side say? And how could you argue against that other side? Explanations, of course, just having them draw out and really break down, almost as if they were talking to a child or someone younger than them, and really fully explain what they want to say. And then the last one is senses. And I mean the five senses, right? What do they see? What do they hear? What do they smell, touch, related to the topic that they're writing about? And it can make it a lot longer and more descriptive. Review writing sample examples and compare writing examples. So the next time you have a parent-teacher conference, ask to see not just your child's grades, but what are they writing? And really get a sense and ask your teacher to help you understand how they write, how your child writes, and how it compares to other children on their level. And so I've created a site for you to go and see what writing on grade level looks like. If you go to tinyurl.com/GSCS writing examples, you'll be able to see writing samples on each grade level. Let me show you. So you'll see this, and you'll see, for example, a sample essay. This is a persuasive essay and from a sixth grader. And on the side, it tells you what the sixth grader has done that's effective in this piece of writing. And so this is a persuasive piece. And then you'll see what an 11th grader might do in a persuasive piece of writing. You'll see a lot more research, quotations, the vocabulary is higher. So look at something that is on the grade level of your child and have them kind of compare, and you compare, okay, what is happening in this one that my child can do? For example, this 8th grade piece of writing. If you have an 8th grader, you'll notice that this one is different from the 6th grader because it starts with an anecdote. It starts with this imagery and this story that they're telling, as opposed to the 6th grader who just started with the fact. And this is writing on level. The 6th grader did a good job and this 8th grader did a good job. So compare how your child is writing to something like this. And then lastly, review the expectations from the milestones, the Georgia Milestone Assessment System, the exam that your child will take at the end of 6th, 7th, 8th, and 11th grade. It used to be 9th, but now it's just 11th grade in high school. And so think about, as they start to bring home assignments, can you compare them to what the milestone expects them to do? So if you go to tinyurl.com/student levels, you'll see something called the achievement level descriptors. It may seem intimidating, but let me show you a way to quickly get to what you want to see. So here you'll see all of the achievement level descriptors, and that's really another name for a rubric or scoring guide. And if you click on the grade that your child is in, so grade 8, you scroll down, and I know this looks like a lot, but the column I want you to pay attention to is this column, the proficient learner column. And in that column, it'll tell you what somebody in that grade is expected to do. And again, if you need an opportunity or have trouble trying to decipher this, please work with your child's teacher. They'll be more than happy to explain it. But this is what an 8th grader is expected to do. And if you just stay within the R, it tells you that it's about reading. It tells you in each section what the standards are related to. So RL is reading literature. RI is reading informational texts. W, all of the W standards relate to writing. So again, a proficient 8th grader should be able to do these things. And so look at your child's work and see, okay, what are they missing? What are they doing well that is on grade level and expected on the milestone exam? So I hope that you have found this helpful. These are 9 tips that you can battle those can'ts that your child tends to give you. And please let us know, your family liaison at your school, how else we can be of assistance. Thank you so much.